Welcome into the Blurred Wire. Today we have the privilege of discussing Wicked, which of course is currently in theaters. I think it's kind of on its last run. It's probably going to be out, but of course it came out at the end of November. Stars Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. I'm very excited to do this episode. Because I didn't see it when it came out, I was thinking like it's not really a point to like try to review it even because it was like people are already going to have seen it. It kind of defeats the purpose and people won't still be talking about it. But after
hmm
we saw it, after I saw it and then you saw it, I was like, no, we have to talk about this. So before we dive in and everything, how's it going, Ty? How's everything been? How you living?
living large, my friend. I am
Living
on I am
large.
on winter break right now for school, and nothing feels better like having time back in your life.
Having time. Yeah, my wife just graduated from UCF and she's like, "Time, I missed you so much. I
It
missed
is,
you so much."
it's the best feeling.
Mm-hmm.
The best
Mm-hmm.
feeling. You can
Until
actually
next
do
semester
things with
starts,
your
yeah.
days. You don't have to wake up unseasonably early every single day. It's
Just to
great.
get things done, yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So, all right, well, let's dive in because we're probably gonna take a lot of time talking about it. Um, first of all, my I mean not Grammy, my Oscar for Best Actress is Ariana Grande in Wicked as Glinda. That is out of all the movies I've seen this year, if she's first of all, if she's not nominated, it will be a travesty. And second of all, I don't care who else is nominated. Well, I mean, it probably will be a tough choice because there are some really talented actresses out there. But I will tell you right now, my choice is Ariana Grande as Glenda.
That is wild. That
Wild?
feels very wild because it's so clearly Cynthia Erivo.
It's yeah,
It's Cynthia Erivo.
she did
Like,
do fantastic. Like if they were both nominated, that would be a tough choice. Um, I just know while I was watching the movie, because I got to watch it with my brother, and we had such a great time with it. Like every time she embodied the character so perfectly,
mhm.
and I was having a such a good time in the movie theater just watching Ariana Grande be Glinda. I was
Yeah.
laughing my butt off. Like, no, I don't think it's not. I didn't laugh as hard. I had more fun with Wicked than I did with Deadpool and Wolverine
hmm
because it was just, and I think that's largely because of her performance. Like Cynthia Erivo brought the emotional gravitas, and oh my god, she had the best vocal performance. Like this is what I didn't expect, right? I wasn't
hmm
expecting her vocal performance to be the best thing about the movie. Like I wasn't
hmm
expecting her to have the best vocal performance because I'd never heard her sing before. And I also
hmm
wasn't expecting Ariana Grande to blow me away so much with her acting in this one. To me, Cynthia Erivo, she brought the emotional depth, and Ariana Grande brought the fun and the having a good time. Like she made me have a good time while I was watching this movie. So depending on which one you think this movie leans more into, you know what I mean? Like whichever one you think this movie is better at, just being a good time or the emotional gravitas, whatever you think hits harder is probably which actress you're going to come away with like this was the performance that made this movie. You know what I mean?
So like I totally like all of those reasons the same, yes, but I don't think that makes Ariana. I don't mean to say Ariana Grande was bad by any means. She was fantastic as Galinda.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but her character was not what was impressive to me about Galinda. It was not her characterization. It wasn't the ability to find lightheartedness in this movie. Hey, this movie is a musical. There's gonna be lightheartedness. Musicals
Right.
are known for that factor. To me, that's not the thing that was quite as impressive. What was impressive to me about Ariana Grande was the range that she was singing at, but I don't think, to
That
me,
too.
that
Yeah.
the singing quality isn't what makes you a best actress in in a
Mm-hmm.
movie. I think Cynthia Erivo's like depth and like the the range that we get, the like Cynthia Erivo's performance is what, like, she had me crying so many times during this movie. I mean, like, how could you have dry eyes at the scene where she is dancing in the underwater club and they stay on her dancing by herself
For so
for
long.
such a long time?
Okay,
It's
first of all,
so,
major spoilers, guys. Like I'm sure you've already
oh,
seen it. I forgot to give this at the beginning, and I may like edit it in and put it back in at the top front. But major spoilers for the movie if you have not seen it, and if you have
mhm.
not seen it, do yourself a favor.
Go watch this
Um,
movie.
yeah. Okay. So sorry. Get back into
If we
what you were
have
saying.
No, just
Yeah.
like her performance there was so moving, and she made the character of Elphaba so incredibly tragic and relatable, even though I have not been in her
You
shoes.
haven't had
But
green skin.
I haven't had green skin. I haven't been marginalized like that, but she can take that while also making it accessible to, like, hey, you've all been that kid like in high school that's just a little different. And I
Hmm.
feel like the subtlety of her acting made it fit both sides. Like I feel like Elphaba is a character that anybody can relate to, and also an experience that is incredibly specific and individualistic. And I think to bridge both of those things, to make both true at the same time, is what makes her a performance like whoa to me.
So my question, honestly, my question would be, right? Like,
Mhm.
who would get Best Actress? Like, who would be considered? I guess Ariana Grande would be considered supporting actress,
'Cause
or because this movie kind of felt
she
like they
didn't.
equally shared like the spotlight almost. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
who would be considered Best
Mm.
Actress and who'd be considered Best Supporting? I think that would be because if we're talking about both those categories, either of them should win over anybody else. Like, I would say it's a close. It's not even close for me. Like the next
I
option
don't
I
know.
have would be Zendaya in Dune Part Two for Best
Mm-hmm.
Supporting Actress. But to
Mm-hmm.
me, if I'm choosing between Cynthia Erivo or Ariana Grande as Best Actress, and then also choosing between them as Best Supporting Actress, I'm
Mm-hmm.
choosing Cynthia as Best Actress and Ariana as Best Supporting, or vice versa. Either way is fine by me because both of them deserve all of the flowers that can possibly be given for their performances. Like to
Both
me,
did
both of them were
phenomenal
Oscar worthy.
jobs.
Um,
Yeah.
because I'm thinking of all the movies I've seen this year, and I don't like as far as supporting actress goes. So it'll be interesting to see when the Oscars come out how it will be because this movie's gonna get nominated for a bunch of them. I feel like just off
Mm-hmm.
the rip. Um, so it'll be interesting to see how they decide that who's the actress and who's the supporting actress and which one each one will get. Um,
Well, certainly not Cynthia Erivo. I don't know if Ariana Grande, because Cynthia is top billing. I would
she is
imagine
top
Ariana
billing.
is
Okay,
too, but I don't think that would qualify either for
supporting.
supporting,
Yeah, that's the
because
question.
they are both, that feels like a bit of a gray area for like
Yeah,
how they're decided, but I think calling either of them supporting actresses in this film feels wrong.
right. But I'm
So
also
I
like they both need a Grammy for it. So I'm like, what's the option here? I mean, not a Grammy. They both deserve an Oscar for it,
how do
and
you
only
how
one
do
can
you
win it. How do you choose?
how do you
Like,
choose?
like neither one is a supporting actress. But I'm also like, how do we give them both Oscars?
You're trying to make an exception just this one time.
I'm curious to see how it will go, and I think it would be
Mhm.
I wouldn't say like a travesty or like I don't know if there was ever a time to make an exception or be like I would ask them like, hey, Ariana Grande, are you okay with being nominated as a supporting actress because we really want to
Mhm.
nominate you for a Grammy, right? I keep
Mhm.
saying Grammy because we're talking about Grammys on our other channel. We really want to nominate you for an Oscar, but it would have to be as best supporting actress so that way we can also nominate Cynthia. And that would probably be the first. Would that be the first time two actresses would have won in Best Supporting and Actress in the same movie?
in this
I
made up
don't
world
know.
where you're making up
Uh,
how to hand out rewards? Yeah,
I guess it hasn't
probably.
really happened. I mean, I'm sure there's like an actress in another movie, and that's also had a Best Supporting Actress, and they could have won in both movies. You know what I mean? Like, I can't think of a good example
Like
off
the
the top of
same
my head.
character or the same actress
No,
won because she was in multiple movies.
just like the same movie. So, like, what was a movie this year that had a strong that was like female led?
You can't be like lead and supporting.
No, it would be like okay, so it would be like in Hunger Games, like if Jennifer Lawrence won Best Actress and Julianne Moore won Best Supporting Actress for Coin. That's what I
Oh,
mean. In the same movie, they were both in Mockingjay,
oh,
but
yeah, I'm
that's
sure
happened
that's
before.
happened.
Oh,
I
okay.
guarantee you that's happened.
Okay. Okay. It's probably happened before. I just can't think of a time off the top of my head or recently. Um, but either way, going back into it, I was absolutely blown away by this movie because I wasn't expecting it to be. I thought it was gonna be all right. Like I wasn't like expecting it to just fill me up with so many emotions while I was watching it in the theater. And like I knew it was gonna be good, but I wasn't ready for it to be this good. And I wasn't ready. And like I said, to me, like the number one thing that I can rate on a movie is what was the experience like in the theater. And
Hmm.
to me nowadays, especially in the era of streaming, you have to make a movie that feels like it needs to be enjoyed in the theater. And this is one of
Hmm.
those movies. And I'm surprised that it honestly hasn't grossed more, but this is one of those movies where I'm like, the theater experience is what makes this movie um incredible, right? Like, and like you said, all of the way that they balanced all of the humor and lightheartedness of Ariana Grande's character, like when she was like, I'm not used to getting my way. I need to lie down. And she like fell backwards and they like picked her up. I was dying. I was dying. I was dying the entire film. But the way they also balance that with Cynthia Erivo's character and all the marginalization and discrimination that she had to go through just from having green skin, which she obviously didn't ask for, was very, very powerful to have that in the movie as well. And I was just talking to my mom, and my sister about it, and I was like, because Cynthia Erivo hasn't been in that many. I mean, I guess blockbuster like big name things. 'Cause I think she's known for
Hmm.
Broadway, if I'm not mistaken. So this was like her first, like one of the biggest movies that she's probably been in. And
Hmm.
same for Ariana Grande. Actually, she's just such a big pop star that she kind of transcended that world. But this is really the first big blockbuster for both of them because Ariana Grande hasn't been in one before. Um, but
Hmm.
at the end, when she's singing Defying Gravity, I'm like, every time I thought she was about to like fly around and get out of there, she would fly back in and hit another high note. And then she like flew
Yeah.
around again. And I was like, okay, she's getting out of there now. I was like, oh no, she's coming back. She hit a higher note. How does
Hmm.
she hit a better note than what she just did? So
Yeah.
yeah, I would definitely say the vocal performance of Cynthia Erivo, first of all, blew me away. And I was not expecting it at all, especially on Defying Gravity. And she was by far the best singer in the entire production, to
Oh
me,
yeah.
especially with Defying Gravity.
So literally in 2022, to answer your previous question, Everything Everywhere All at Once had
Okay.
Jamie Lee Curtis and Michelle Yeoh uh both win for respectively Best Actress and Best
Okay.
Supporting Actress.
So it's not like it's uncommon. The thing that would be uncommon here is
Or
whether
it's
one
not
of
that it's
them,
never been done.
yeah. Um, the thing that would be uncommon here would be if one of them is considered a best supporting actress. Because you're right, that does feel wrong to call one of them a supporting actress. But is it worth it if it means they both get an Oscar? Is the question.
No, because that's not what supporting
No,
actress
still no.
means.
No. Yeah.
That's not what the Oscar is for. That's not what it's representing.
And so if you had to choose, you would give it to Cynthia Erivo, no question.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah.
Because Ariana Grande was great, but she did not blow me away. She was really great, but nothing of what she did was like, this is a performance to be remembered for decades. It was just like, yeah, she captured the energy really well, but I do not think that makes it award worthy. Cynthia Erivo felt award worthy.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
in
Yeah.
her performance.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
understand that.
yeah, the high note that is defying gravity. I will say I've been this has put me in like a really big Wicked mood, and I've been since going back and listening to the original production, the Broadway production
Hmm.
of Wicked. And I will say it doesn't hit as hard in the movie because there are so many interruptions. Like the song itself is interrupted at multiple points, whereas in like the broad on the
Oh,
recording
I see what you're
of the
saying. Yeah,
original
yeah, yeah.
musical, it is continuous. And those like progressively more intense and higher notes until she gets to like the note, the one
Hmm.
they made the Target
The
ad
yeah.
about. Like that note, it's so impressive because you just get this consistent like rise until you hit that peak. In this movie, it's like you're going up and then you stop for like unsong related like quick plot to get us moving, and then you go back to the song, continue up, and then you stop again to do some plot, and it's the back and forth, and it feels disconnected, and it doesn't feel like a real song. To where afterwards, after I finished like dabbing up my tears because it was so beautiful, I had to say, "Wait, was that the song?" Like it genuine, like it was too
Yeah.
broken up that it didn't even feel like the song itself. And that was so disappointing, especially now, having gone back and listened to the original Broadway recording to hear it all in like it's so much better that way.
Yeah,
And
I should have listened to the
it's
recording before seeing the movie.
frustrating to me. That's like the one negative I have about this whole
Yeah.
movie is why did you break that last song up? Otherwise, this is like my number two or three of the year of like
Movies?
favorite. Yeah.
I was gonna talk about that too. Like for me right now, like I honestly thought because I decided to do a Glicked with my
Mm,
mom and we saw Wicked and then we went and saw Gladiator 2. You know, kind of try to
mm,
recreate the Barbenheimer phenomenon. I see
mm.
why it didn't really take off as well as
Can't do that.
Barbie did. But
Mm,
I will say I enjoyed this movie. Like this might be a hot take, but I enjoyed this movie more than I enjoyed Barbie. Like Barbie
mm,
wasn't bad, but like if I was comparing the two, I definitely loved this movie. And this is
mm.
probably number three for me this year because I don't think
Yeah.
Dune Part 2 is not going to get touched. And Inside Out 2 was just too like that's the one that like pulled me emotionally, I think the most out of any movie this year was
Hmm.
Inside Out 2 just because of the way they depicted her panic attack
Hmm.
with Riley. But yeah,
Perfect.
Wicked has shot up to number three. I'm like, I had a better time watching it than I did with Deadpool and Wolverine. You know, obviously there weren't any plot holes because it was based upon the stage play, so like nothing that and you know how we've talked about how plot holes drive me insane and
Drive
probably
you,
unrealistically so, but it's like
they,
my number
they
one
drive you
plot peeve.
crazy.
Just make it make sense how we get from A to B. But
Hmm.
yeah, I hadn't enjoyed myself since like this much since Inside Out 2. And because I think I saw that one. Did that come out after Deadpool and Wolverine or was it before? I think it was before.
Before. It was before.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, this was the most enjoyable time I've had in the theater probably all year because again, Dune Part 2 was a little bit different, enjoyable. Like it was a different kind of feeling in the theater. It was more of like an epicness that we were probably expecting from Gladiator Part 2, honestly. Because after I saw this and then saw that and Gladiator Part 2 wasn't bad, but I see why it's not really working as Glicked because most people just don't have it in the same category as far as quality goes.
And that was like
It
that
was like
was forced.
weird.
It's not a
Yeah,
natural.
it's not a natural
Barbenheimer
thing.
was just a beautiful
Yeah,
little thing that people on the internet made up because they felt like it. And Glicked feels like a marketing campaign from corporate executives who don't understand the first thing about what people on the internet actually like or care
and what
about.
it creates. And you can tell by the box office receipts because like Wicked still did well, and I think Gladiator's doing it's healthy. This it's not a
Hmm.
blockbuster, but it's healthy. But it was the same plot as the first Gladiator, so it was kind of like oh I'm just watching Gladiator again, but just feels like better special effects, maybe, but I'm seeing the
Hmm.
exact same story in a little bit. It was just it didn't hit as hard as I thought it could have.
Hmm.
But anyway, and I think also coming from Wicked made it a little bit harder too because that movie is just so much better, so much better. And I
Such a
loved
great
how
movie.
did you catch when that the original Wicked actor Broadway actresses were in it? And
Hmm.
that makes me love it even more, and I think is like has really cemented its spot on my list for me because um I love when they do callbacks to things like that and bring in like original actors, like not even for like a cameo, for like and it was a pretty substantial like number that they got to do. Like it wasn't like hi, like they got to sing and really show off their voices, which I thought was really really nice, and I loved it, and I thought it was a perfect place to have them in the movie. Um,
Yeah.
to me, by far the best musical of the year, easily. It'll definitely win that category to me for Oscars.
Same
Um,
with like set design or costume design,
costume design, I
soundtrack.
would
It's going to
say.
be up there.
Would you give it costume design over Dune Part 2? Do you think?
Um, I don't know. It was really great.
I need to
Dune,
watch
I
them
mean,
both back to back to decide.
I feel way too biased about Dune just because it's a property that I just really love the story of. So I feel just so
It's hard
incredibly
to.
biased at how Dune came to be. But Wicked is really, really up there to where I wouldn't be upset if it won.
Okay,
Like
if
my
it went
feelings
over it,
aside,
that's a good
I
way to put
wouldn't be
it.
upset that Wicked
Either way,
beat out
yeah.
Dune 2.
Me neither, honestly. Like I would not. And like I said, I hope there's a way that they can both get a Grammy. I'm
Yeah.
God, every single time. I hope there's a way they can both get an Oscar
You know
for
what?
their
Just throw it in the
performances.
Grammys too. Give him an Emmy, give
Oh
him
yeah.
give him a
It's
SAG,
too
give
man,
him
so
everything.
it's too bad that this didn't come out before September because this would have been included in the list for Grammys because there are some musical nominations. I think for like Song of the Year and for things like that, and this would have cleaned up. So it'll probably clean up at next year's Grammys when it's officially eligible to go in. But
And then
because the cutoff is in September,
depending on when part two releases,
it'll clean up.
maybe
Oh
they
yeah,
may be
at that year's.
competing against each other.
Man, I think part two is supposed to come out a year from now.
So if it's still like the same time, end of the year, then they'll be safe from each other. But
Yeah,
but it might
man,
be.
that would be funny to have Wicked
Hmm.
Part 1 and 2 competing for each other.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Well, I cannot wait for Part 2. You heard it here for us, whether you want to really delve into the emotional aspect or if you want to just sit and have a good time in the theater, Wicked gives all of that and more. Um, like I said, I wasn't expecting myself to enjoy it as much because I'm a very big, like, more action guy. Like, this isn't really my cup of tea.
Hmm.
But the musical is very near and dear to my heart because I knew a lot of these songs growing up. Like, my sister used to sing them since she was like 14, and my
Hmm.
mom would play them all the time. So I knew a lot of the songs, like Loathing, like seeing Loathing on screen too was like pretty, I don't even know the right, like ethereal. I don't even know the right word for it because being there with my brother and getting to see it on the screen, um, was quite awesome and quite amazing. Um,
For me, it
yeah.
wasn't until watching this that I remembered that I was actually part of my fourth grade chorus group. We did
Oh,
perform "No One Mourns the
what?
Wicked" as part of
What?
like a some kind of like event. And I'm sure if I tried to, I could find like my mom's old recording of me, but I do remember performing "No One Mourns the Wicked" uh for like chorus when I
That's
was in fourth
amazing.
grade.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah.
Okay, okay. So I guess do you have any final thoughts on the movie to wrap it up? Any performances particularly of note that you want to highlight? Like I really like Jeff Goldblum in it. Um, but he kind of filled the role. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't like blown away, but he did. Michelle, you obviously she does a fantastic job in everything she's in, so she did a great job. I mean, the
Yeah.
stars were Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. Like that's
Yeah.
been very clear from the very beginning. Um, I thought they were supposed to be the best part of the movie, and they were the best part of the movie. And that's exactly
Yeah.
how you make a movie with stars. So yeah, anything else to really to add on that we didn't get to yet?
No, just like please watch it. Like I just want
Yeah.
everyone in the world to watch this movie.
Yeah,
Like
just to see it.
it's
Yeah.
great. I honestly I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did,
Hmm.
considering how much marketing went into it. I just
Hmm.
thought it was gonna be another like, okay, it's just another seasonal like movie. Like it's just like the movie that whoever the
Is out.
publisher
Yeah.
was like pushing for the end of the year, Christmas time to
Hmm.
go see. No, it's phenomenal. It's great.
I think the best way for me to describe it, I didn't think it was going to be special, and this
Mm,
movie is special.
yeah.
That's how I will put it. I didn't think that it would be, but it would. And the only reason why I didn't see it twice was because I was like, there's other movies I want to see too.
Hmm.
And I was trying to save my movie pass credits for it.
For other
Um, for other
movies.
movies, yeah. But I kind of regret that. Like, I should have seen this twice.
Hmm.
So yeah, let us know your thoughts of Wicked, whether you loved it like us, clearly. If you hated it, you can comment those too. Comment your thoughts on the Cynthia Erivo Ariana Grande Oscar debate. Should they both get it? Would it be wrong for one of them to be supporting actress? Who would you choose out of the two of them if they both get when they both get nominated for Best Actress? Because I'm calling it right here. I feel like there's no way that's not going to happen. So let us know your thoughts. Oh, last thing before I go. So you said that it's probably top two or three for you. So do you think it's like, because I know your number one movie is Doom Part Two. So do you think
Hmm.
this slides in at two or three, or what's right there at two that you're kind of debating it with? If you could give me that.
We haven't talked about it, but The Substance,
Oh,
with
okay.
Demi Moore, that movie was magical. It's a
Okay.
horror movie, but
Okay.
it's you probably wouldn't like it, but it is phenomenal, and it has been way too much overlooked for this year.
I
It
had never
was
heard of it. And Demi
it
Moore is
was
not like she's a big actress.
and it's the kind of movie that like Demi Moore was like made to play. She we're talking about like best actresses. I
Oh,
think frankly Demi Moore deserves it more than Cynthia Erivo does in
really? Oh,
Wicked, because it's
okay.
like that movie was made for her as an actress, and she's the perfect person to play it. And the message that the movie was carrying on, I don't want to talk too much about it, but it's
For our Wicked
it's
episode.
it's
Yeah.
phenomenal. It's so so
Okay.
so good. Uh,
Okay.
but yeah, so that's probably going to be my number two. I haven't nailed down my list. I'd have to go back and
Go back and check it out.
look at everything,
Hmm.
but it's definitely up there.
Okay. Well, you heard it here for her. You heard it here first, guys. So like I said, let us know your thoughts about Wicked, and we of course will see you next time.